Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen and welcome to the very first cooking class where we're going to be cooking directly from my book, my book Bridget's Healthy Kitchen. If you have pre-ordered your copy of this book, you should be expecting delivery very, very soon. They are on their way to me. They are currently in a container coming from Asia, and once they get here into Sydney, then they have to go through the customs. Once they go through customs, I'll be popping your copy into a little postage bag and sending it out to you. So it's super exciting for us that we're very, very close to being able to deliver these books, because you know it's definitely been a long time in the making. You know, it's sort of when you are looking at creating something like this, you're probably looking at about a 9-month window of time from conception to printing, editing, taking photos, to it actually being delivered. So this is literally my baby. This was 9 months in the making. This is literally my baby. So I'm really excited because I get to deliver this to you guys really, really soon. But I thought what would be really nice is if we actually start doing little cooking classes directly from this book. Because one of the things I love about this book, and I loved it before I actually held it in my hand, I have to tell you, but holding it in my hand, what I have realized is that this book is a resource. This book is something that's going to help you stay on track, because it's literally a gut reset book. There are 100 recipes in here, 100 gut healthy recipes. So if you're on a gut health program, or if you are someone who's wanting to look after what's happening down here, this is the book for you. Every single recipe in here is what has helped me to lose 25 kilos and maintain that weight loss for nearly a year. This is what I basically use this, which is really cool. So I thought that it would be really nice for us to actually start having a little bit of a deep dive into what the recipes are in this book. Now there is still time for you to pre-purchase your copy if you want one. Coco's going to throw up a link now so you guys can have you know, access to pre-purchasing the book. If you, like I said, if you have already purchased your book, expect your copy to be coming really, really soon. We're going to start to be doing some launches. We've got more cooking classes on the way as well. But there's lots of exciting things happening all around this book, and it's, you know, it's, as I was saying, it's been a bit of a process to get it to you guys, but it's been an exciting process because along the way I have literally met some amazing people and I've cooked some amazing food, and now we're going to cook a recipe directly from this book. So as you know, if you're currently on a gut health program, as you know that the recipes, especially if you're on phase 2 or stage 2, because when you're on a gut health program, literally what you do is you cut out the sugar or the carbs even. You cut out the gluten. You get rid of the dairy, and you also have very low fat, so there's no added fat. So every single recipe in this book, all 100 recipes, have no dairy, no sugar, no gluten, and they have no added fat, which is wonderful. And the recipe that we're doing today is exactly that, and we're going to be doing my sticky Korean beef, which I really, really love. It's on page 90. Let me have a little look so I want to show you guys the photos, because one of the things I love about this as well is that every single recipe has a photo, so you know what to expect. Right, there we go. Are you getting that in, Mahe? So that's what we're going to be cooking today. It is my Korean style beef with pickled cucumbers and basil. Pretty cool, right? All right, easy recipe. The other thing I love about this book is that every single recipe should take you between 15 to 20 minutes maximum to make. You know, if you are a little bit organized and you've done some meal prep in advance, and when I talk about meal prep, my idea is a meal prep is not prepping up the whole meal. I always make sure I have things like my sticky sauce. So there's my little sticky sauce in the fridge constantly. That'll last a month in the fridge. So I always have my sticky sauce in the fridge. Sticky sauce is on page 25 of the cookbook, of course, page 25. So I always have my sticky sauce. So I've meal prepped up my sticky sauce. I might also meal prep up my pickled cucumbers. These will last you for literally a month in the fridge. So you've always got access to your cucumbers. Even if you haven't got any fresh ones, you've got some pickled ones in your fridge waiting to go. And this is on page 218, pickled cucumbers. There are, like I said, there's 100 recipes in the book, and they're all mono eating. So when we talk about mono eating, we're talking about one protein and one vegetable. So this is exactly what this recipe is. The protein that we're using today is beef, and the beef that I have here, it's not an expensive cut, as you can see. It's a piece of rump steak. You don't have to go out and buy fillet steak or anything like that. But you know, it's one of these cuts that you can see there's a little bit of fat on there, so we are going to trim the fat off just a little bit. So the best thing, or the ideal thing when it comes to making this particular recipe, is you may, if you are able to start the night before, part of your meal prep, or even, you know, a couple days before, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking the beef once we've trimmed it down, and then we're going to be marinating it in my sticky sauce. So marinating, ideally with the sticky sauce, is done over a 24-hour period. So you do it the night before. But let's just say you're busy or you haven't got time to do it, you can still make this recipe. But once you marinate it, and I've just got an example of marinating here. I've had my beef marinating in here overnight, and you can see that it's really taken on the color. Could you just show this, Mahi? Sorry, can you just show this? It's really taken on the color of the marinade, because the flavors are going into the beef. So this is going to be even more fantastic. And I'm not sure if I've told you guys before, but the reason I created sticky sauce was I love Korean food. Like, I absolutely adore Korean food. And I wanted to create a sauce that was free from gluten and sugar and free from dairy, that was similar to how Koreans used to marinate their beef or their chicken or whatever when they're barbecuing, and that's how I came up with sticky sauce. So it was a natural progression for me to go from making sticky sauce to marinating it on beef, and then doing this Korean style beef stir fry that we're doing. So going back to trimming, like I said, if you've got time, definitely marinate it overnight, 100%. If you don't have time, then don't be too concerned, you know, don't be too caught up that you haven't been able to marinate overnight. You're still going to get a wonderful flavor, but marinating it overnight is actually going to give you an even more exciting flavor. So what I'm doing now is I'm just cutting them into quite thin strips, as you can see, the beef. So once you've trimmed off the fat, you want to cut them thinly. But in saying that, and there is another recipe that I have in this book, using this sort of idea of taking the sticky beef and taking the sticky sauce and marinating the beef in the sticky sauce, is what I have here. So instead of doing the little thin strips, I've actually cut it into cubes, and then of course you can skewer it, and you can do sticky beef skewers. This on the barbecue does not matter if you're doing it for yourself, or you're doing it for a party, or you're doing it for family. This on the barbecue is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. So you can also think about doing them in larger chunks and then putting them onto a skewer. I'll see if I've got a skewer somewhere. I want to show you guys. Look at that. I do. Just so you can see what I'm talking about. So even if you are, like I said, even if you are cooking for yourself, or you've got people coming around for a barbecue, this is such a great recipe, because there's so much flavor in the sticky sauce. So much flavor. You marinate these the night before you're having the barbecue, and then you have literally the most wonderful skewer there to go onto your barbecue. People who have no idea, people that you're feeding will have no idea that that's actually healthy. And that's what I love about these recipes. It's like, yeah, it's diet food, but people kind of don't realize it's diet food because it just tastes good. I love that sort of concept. I'm not going to throw that away though. That's gold. Do not throw that away. Okay, back to our beef. So you're literally taking your beef, trimming back the fat, just taking that off. I mean, especially that, because that's actually not fat. That is sinew. So you can't eat that. Even, it doesn't matter how long you cook it, you cannot eat that. So you want to trim that stuff off as well. And in trimming it, you're able to go and get your nice thin slices of beef. Alright, so once you've done your thin slices into your little bowl, you don't need much of this. You literally need, a tablespoon will do about 100 grams of beef, which is wonderful. Bit of a spoon, give it a bit of a mix, and like I said, ideally overnight, 24 hours. If you don't have time, there's nothing stopping you from cooking it straight away. Another really great tip is, if you are a meal prepper and you like to have things really, really organized, you could do this stage here, put it into a little plastic bag, pop it in the freezer. That'll last you 3 months in the freezer, because meat lasts about 3 months in the freezer. But it's already pre-marinated, so you don't even have to think about it. Once you defrost it, it goes into your frying pan or onto your barbecue or whatever, and it's already ready to go for you. So that's another way of doing it. But we're going to finish it off now. I'm just going to take that beef away. We're going to finish it off now. I'm just going to turn my chopping board over to the clean side. I'm not doing any more meat on there. And then over to my frying pan. Oh, sorry, I'm actually using a wok. It's one of my absolute favorite items in the kitchen. It's a non-stick wok, which is really important because remember, we're not adding any oil to this. So we do need to have a bit of a non-stick surface. So I have a non-stick wok, which literally I use it every single day. It is so well, I'm going to say abused, as well used, the wok here. And it just makes my life so much easier because it has got that non-stick quality to it. So we're going to heat it up, and we're going to heat it up quite generously. Like we want there to be a little bit of a haze coming off it, because that haze means that this is going to cook really, really fast. And this is literally, if you have made the sticky sauce in advance, you have your pickled cucumbers already sitting in your fridge. This is a 10-minute meal, if that. It's 10 minutes for you to cook it. So once we've got a bit of a heat coming off there, like I said, you want a bit of a haze. If you're not finding you have a haze, another little trick that you can do is you can add a bit of beef to it, and if you hear a sizzle, you know it's kind of hot enough. I'm not happy with that sizzle. I'm going to leave it a little bit longer. But if you've got any questions, by the way, of what's happening here today, if you've got any questions about sticky sauce or pickled cucumbers, just let me know and I'll answer them live for you. But of course, if you want to purchase the book, Coco's going to throw up the link so you can pre-purchase the book as well. Exciting! I can't wait to get the book to you guys. It's pretty cool. All right, do you see this now? I have a haze. Do you see this little smoke that's coming off it? I'm pretty happy now that we've got some really, really decent heat in here. So all I'm going to do, I'm not going to overcrowd my frying pan. You don't want to overcrowd it because you want it to sizzle. I'm going to drop it in. I'm not dropping it in a big bunch. I'm actually separating the beef because we want the beef to cook. I'm going to add the sticky sauce as well. We want the beef to cook really, really quick. That's the whole idea here. As I was saying, this is going to take literally seconds. It's about 1 minute in the frying pan. You probably can't see that. Coco, could you open the door, please? Because we might have an alarm go off soon. It takes literally seconds to make. Because you've cut it really, really thin. It's going into a really hot pan. I'm constantly moving it around, as you can see. And it's almost ready. It's what, 30, 35, 45 seconds that it's been in there. Oh, I'm going to add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper as well. And that is done. Push them to the side. I'm going to show you guys what we've got here. Can you see? Trying to get rid of the smoke. So you can see it even after 35 seconds, it's done. And I don't want to leave it in there too long because it's going to overcook. I just want it to be, I mean, look at the flavour, the smell coming off the beef now it's ridiculous. It's so good. And I've still got that little bit of liquid down there as well, which I'm not going to waste. So all I need to do now is literally to plate up. So I've got my little plate here. I'm going to be using a little bit of fresh cucumber as well as pickled cucumber because obviously you want that crunch. And when your cucumber has been pickled, it's a little bit softer, but I really like the idea of the crunch in here as well. So I'm going to use a little bit of fresh, just slice through it. Can go on to the plate. I'll then start to layer my pickled cucumbers on as well. Now pickled, that's obviously got vinegar in it, apple cider vinegar in there, so that it is quite pungent. So that's why I think it's really nice to have the alternatives of pickled and fresh. Because just having straight pickled, it might blow your mind. it's really full on. So we'll just layer it like that. A few more of the pickled. You can add fresh herbs at this stage as well if you want to. You could put fresh basil, which I've got in the recipe. I use fresh basil, but if you like mint or if you like coriander, it's completely up to you. Because you just want a herb that's really bright and fresh, and that's why I tend to go for herbs like basil or mint. And this is where we get our flavour from. You know, we're not just throwing cucumber into a bowl. We're actually adding flavour from our herbs, and then we can add a little bit more pepper, which is also going to give it a wonderful bit of flavour. And then we top it off with our beef, which is in here. Look at that, yay! It looks pretty good, right? Doesn't really look like diet food. Kind of just looks yummy. The beef is phenomenal. Get your hand away, mister. You stick to the recording. Do not waste the juice that you get out of the pan too. This is your opportunity to add moisture to your dish, which is really important. You do not want it dry. You want it luscious. Luscious and juicy. So we're going to add that as well. If you wanted to, there is your dish straight out of the book. Like I said, page number 90. Sorry, page number, yes, number 90. My sticky Korean beef with cucumbers. If you wanted to bulk it up a little bit, there is nothing stopping you from adding a nice handful of lettuce as well, depending on where you're at. But this in itself is a wonderful lunch dish, and it's actually in the lunch section of the cookbook. But it's so simple to do. There's alternatives for you. You don't have to do it thin. You could do it, and obviously, where's our skewer? What have I done with it? Here it is. Nothing stopping you from doing that as well, right? Popping it on the barbecue, but still serving it with this cucumber salad. It would be such a wonderful dish to have as part of a barbecue feast. It's just fantastic. So there's alternatives for you as well, but that I reckon is it's pretty awesome. Kind of like that. I'm thinking that's lunch. So is Mahay behind the camera. He's thinking that's lunch too. So first class, exciting. Thank you for joining me today. Remember, if you would like to pre-purchase a copy of the cookbook, this one here, 100 gut healthy recipes, reset your gut, mono eating, anyone on phase 2 on gut health program. All you need to do is click on the link. Coco's going to throw up that link one more time for you, and you can get your copy delivered to you really, really soon. Thank you for joining me. I will see you guys really soon on Bridget's Kitchen. We've got lots of really exciting recipes to share for you this week coming up as well. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you really soon.